today's session in these challenging times is we thought there should be a message for all young colleagues as well as for business people. So Dr. Parimal Marchand is a well-known authority on family managed business, and but all of you should know he is also a part of the humanity movement. So it's a unique combination of understanding profit, but at the same time, not profiteering. It is not profiteering. So sir encourages people to be profitable, but don't go the other way around. Right? Have a social cost for your business also. So today we have requested Parimal sir to come and talk to us about Dr. Shrikant, who was the earlier dean of SP Jain. Sir, at a very young age, joined Dr. Shrikant, and then he got groomed under Dr. Shrikant. But Parimal sir, with his own wisdom, also applied the learnings from Dr. Shrikant in his own unique way. Before we start in the next 2 minutes, Dr. Shrikant, it is the way he says to think and the way he says to act. It was very difficult for others to understand him. But Parimal sir not only understood him, he also implemented most of the learnings. So this session is a homage to late Dr. Shrikant. And it is conducted by my guru, that is Dr. Parimal Marchand. So I hope in these challenging times, all of us learn something which we can go back and apply. With that, sir, I warmly welcome you. I thank you for your time as always. Right? Thank you very much, Parimal sir. So today it is business people as well as school and college kids. Sunday, what we do is we try and involve everybody in the society as a whole. And many parents will be sitting with the students. So you would be also addressing parents also. Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much. Over to you.
Thank you. Dr. Shrikant will never would never like to be glorified. He would never like to be talked about. So he would tell us that when he was chief executive of Mukund and when he was leaving, till the last minute of the last hour of the last day, he believed in working. He didn't believe in formalities of farewell and talking nice thing about him and all. He would prefer to walk out than to get involved with all this. So our idea just now is not to tell about what he was and how he lived and all. Our idea is what can we learn from a kind of way he lived or the way he managed or the way he did. So our objective is learning objective, not so much to glorify Dr. Shrikant. He would not have liked it either way. Now I have a very unique experience, 1981, I was 21 years old. I met Dr. Shrikant at his house. At that time, he was post CEO of Mukund Iron and Steel. So he had that very high position. He had completed his PhD from Harvard. He was a consultant. But I met him at his 2-bedroom apartment, which was a rented apartment. And then he would tell me that in Mukund, people who worked under me, I made sure that they all get buy plots in Joe scheme. But as far as he's concerned, he would prefer to live simplicity. I met him in 1981. I was with him in 2015 when he passed away. From then till this, he lived the same simplicity all along. His philosophy is, by philosophy, whatever you call, he described himself as a very rich man. And then his definition of rich is what? When you have more than what you need, you are rich. So he lived with much simple life. Maybe it had to do with his childhood and his parents and the Gandhian influence and many other things. But that gave him a freedom. Because of the simple life, he was not constrained with anything, one. Second, he could get a moral standing. when SP Jain Institute, among top 10 in India, you are entering to meet the dean, and you will be surprised that his cabin is not air conditioned. Now, when the dean of the college cabin is not air conditioned, obviously nobody else can demand air conditioning. What happened was that we are a part of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, which is a trust. And just because we are working, it does not mean anything. We are the trustees. We have to make sure that this money of the trust, whatever it comes from, it is used for the right purpose. At that moment, 1995, year 2000, with so much resource constraint, air conditioning was out of question, including his own cabin. The whole idea was that when you live a life where you walk the talk, then you command a kind of moral authority. So when you are talking, yesterday I was with a guy, sales manager, newly appointed sales manager. The first thing he started was starting advising the salesman, तुम लोगों को ये करना चाहिए, वो करना चाहिए. आपने तो आके अभी तो कुछ बेचा भी नहीं है. What moral authority do you have to preach others? Whenever one thing in mind, if we are teaching something to someone, nobody listens to you. People observe what you are doing. And it was his life, the way he lived his life, that gave him that moral authority. So now my story started. I met him in 1981. I had no plans to join him. What had happened is that I was working with a relative of mine, a small company, just 21. There was an interview about management trainee for a large company. So I just said, I'll just go and see, ये large companiयां करती क्या है, ये कैसे select करते हैं. So just for the fun of it, I applied. I went there. I went for interview. I gave the test. Then I was selected. Now, I had no plans to join. So all that I did was I went back to that gentleman saying that thank you for selecting me, but I will not be joining. Then he told me a line. He told me that there was no need for you to come and tell me that you are not joining. I have hundreds of people whom we offer and nobody comes. They just don't turn up that day. That's it. But you took all the way to come and tell me that you are not joining. So, okay, he noticed something. But anyway, nice, pleasantry, everything is over. I'm back to my work. Learned how this big companies select, ये क्या taste होता है, क्या interview होता है, all the things I wanted to learn. After 15 days, I get a call from Dr. Shrikant's office that he wants me to come and meet him. Now, I don't know who is he, but then I'm given a reference that you went there for interview, whatever, so you go and meet him. So I met him. We had a chat, 2 hours. What are you doing? How are you doing? What do you do? Do you read newspaper? Yes, I read newspaper. What do you read in newspaper? I said, I read editorial in newspaper. Okay. So what is PLO? No, I said it's Palestine Liberation Organization. What is the context? So I explained him how the whole Jewish community was displaced and then they were rehabilitated, and to rehabilitate them, Palestinians were displaced. That time he told me one line. He said, I know many people who are 20, 21. But what you are talking is very different than what most of us talk. What's the moral of the story? One, he was on lookout for people who are not run of the mill. So that gentleman whom I had gone and told that I will not come, was a friend of Dr. Shrikant, and he would keep looking out for such people. So he called me. He called me and we had a talk. After 1 month, again we met, again we had a 2-hour talk. After 1 month, he told me that there is a project of developing a product called Giant Ingots, and I will be project in charge. Now, I was a commerce graduate. Steel ingots requires metallurgy. Steel scrap is melted, steel is produced, the alloy grades are tested, then it is casted. In casting, there are bubbles, there are cracks, that is to be tested. Then that goes for forging, it is heated, it is hammered, and the shaft is made. I know nothing. And look at this thing. I know nothing. He tells me nothing. He tells me now onwards you are in charge of the project. Charge of the project means what? One man show. You are the CEO, you are the peon. Now whatever title, we didn't have a fashion of giving a title of CEO. So we were just a person. So now my job is what? There is a steel company in Bhandup. I'm supposed to go there 3 days a week, stand in front of furnace and learn how steel is made. Then other 3 days, I'm supposed to go to a forge shop, stand in front of forging machine to learn how forging is done. And after some time, I'm supposed to go to the market and to learn and find out how the shafts are sold. This is what is a very unique quality of Dr. Shrikant. What is the quality? The quality is that first search for young people with values. Now, I don't know, just going and telling that gentleman that I will not join is called values or not, but something that is spotted and he called. Second, he was a person who was who was a chief executive once, doctorate from Harvard, management consultants to various people, including Bajaj Group. And I am just a 21-year-old boy. Did he have to spend so much time on me? 3 times interview of 2 hours each. But that was one kind of thing. That people whom you choose are who are going to build you. And what time and energy do you invest in looking out for people? And what do you look out for people? He wanted somebody at that moment in his mind. The project was about steel giant ingot casting. He could have looked out for an engineer, if not a metallurgist. I am a BCom guy, but then there is called an eye to spot capacity. I didn't know that I can understand steel, but he believed that I can understand steel. Now, if I was to tell somebody, suppose I was in his place and I was to hire somebody, I'll go on going spoon feeding to him about what is steel and how it is and what is EN8, what is EN9, how carbon is measured, what alloys are done and all. He did nothing of the sort. He just put an inspiration that you can do it. That's it. And now do on your own. Go and stand. And then I can tell you that in that 2 or 3 months, I could understand right from the grain structure to the spectrometer, to how the whole thing is being measured, to the quality of the scrap, to the process technology. A BCom guy in 2 months understands steel, and not just understands steel, understands very well. Because of what? because of what he did was a simple thing, just thrown me. And one more thing, he believed in me. And third, he made me to believe in myself. So when we are working with people, what is the kind of thing that we do? If you have an accountant to be hired, who will interview him? What you will ask him? How you will judge the people? ऐसा बोलते हैं ना कि जो जवेरी होता है ना, उनकी नजर होती है, हीरा और पत्थर में फर्क उनको दिखता है. और ये कैसे दिखता है? It's not that it is a God gifted talent, but it is the effort that they put in. And then once they put the effort, then put tremendous faith in the person. And particularly, he had a flair of having faith in young people. So he didn't want to have MBAs. He himself was an MBA. He had a doctorate. He was a management professor. But all that he had was BCom. I had a colleague that time. You can say more or less, when he started consulting, I am among the first batch of the people who work with him. And some of you might be knowing Tejal Madam. She is among the last people who were groomed by him. So with me, there was a friend, Sriram. He had come from Chennai. Science graduate, BSc. Joins Dr. Srikant. Within a week, Dr. Srikant is sending him to a company in Pune to make a study of their costing system. This guy, science graduate, well, our office was in Khar. He went to VT, that is train from where you can get train from Pune. It so happens that from the same station, you can also get train for Chennai. Standing on the platform, he was thinking, should I go to Pune or should I go back to Chennai? Because here is a person who has thrown me into the water for studying costing system of a well-run company. As a science graduate, I don't know anything about costing. Anyway, for his good luck, he decided to go to Pune, developed himself tremendously, and eventually he became director of Great Lake School, MBA college, one of the reputed college in India. Now, a science graduate translated into that largely was because of Dr. Srikant's way of working with people. But let's understand very well, he was very ruthless. Once I was sent to a company, and then he told me that, you find out all the things about what they are selling, what they are buying, what price, where, how. I was in another state. I went. The people there received me well because I was coming from Dr. Srikant. Tea, coffee, nice, everything. Then they are asking me, what do you want? I said, I want all this information, where you are buying, what you are buying, what. Then they tell me, why should we tell you? And I was stunned. I thought that Dr. Srikant would have already told them that he is coming and you give the information and that they would be giving me. Instead, they know nothing about it and now they will not give me. I was lost. What to do? Next day I came back to office. Morning, when Dr. Srikant comes in and he sees me in the office, he says, what are you doing here? I told him that they are not giving any information. So I came back. He shouted at me, go back right now and don't come back without getting the information. Now, how am I supposed to get information that you are supposed to know? Now, this is called ruthlessness. When I go back and I remember the day, I could tell you how unfair is the demand. If I had that kind of arrogance, I should have walked out of that place. But somehow our lucks are good. So I just listened. I thought, what should I do? And then I learned how to get it. I'll tell you once. He told me that he had to go to Delhi, go and check in on my behalf and make sure that you get either seat number 7A or 7B. I said, what is check-in? Now, he looked surprised at me. What? You've never traveled by plane? I said, no, I have never traveled by plane. Okay, then you find out. Check in and make sure that it is 7A or 7B. In those days, getting into airport was not with all these things required. So I can go. I found out what is check-in, how to do it and all. I went to the airport. I asked him, I'm checking in for Dr. Shrikant. Okay. But seat is required 7A or 7B. The counter guy says it is not available. Now what do? We didn't have a mobile. I am at the counter. Think about it. What you would do if you were at the counter? Dr. Shrikant had asked you to book 7A or 7B and that is not available. What do you do? Well, I did what occurred to me. I said, okay, what is the nearest available? He said 8A. I said, give me 8A. Well, I have got the boarding pass. I'm waiting for him. He'll just come few minutes before the flight time. He'll take the boarding pass and rush. But the moment you looked at boarding pass, 8A in the airport itself gets wild at me. What are you doing? You can't even get this much work done. Okay. Now, I know by now that he gets angry. He has this nature. It's okay. Soon, Leah, he went. Night, he came back. Next day, he's in the office. And he's telling me, you know, throughout flight, seat number 7A and 7B were vacant. Now, I didn't even understand what to do. Then when I found out from some other people, I have never been in the aircraft so far. In those days, 7A and 7B were the seats just immediately next to the door. He would always want that he's the first passenger getting out of the flight. And by the time the last passenger is out of the airport also. So much in hurry. Now, 7A and 7B, he would have been the first. 8A, 8B is somebody else who is blocking his way. Now, that made me learn काम कैसे करवाने का. Now, he never gave us lecture. He never taught us. He just threw us in the water and somehow we learned how to do it. Here is the point. What do we do with our people? Do we take people with the idea of employing them? Do we take people with the idea of getting the work done? Is it a transaction? I pay you money, you work for me. Or is it an interest in developing the person? Now, while developing me, he is getting his work done, no doubt about it. But constantly throwing me one situation to another, always coming out with new learning, new experience, new ability. I was commerce graduate. I had neither done CA. In those days, I had not even done ICWA. He takes up consulting of one company, asks them their last 5 years annual report. So there are these thick books, 5 thick book comes. calls me and tells me, you analyze this balance sheet. Now, 5 thick book, balance sheet. Okay, in BCom, they do teach us balance sheet, but what is this thick book and what it has to do with balance sheet? Nothing. Anyway, whatever I could, I will do the analysis. Just looking at the analysis, in a second, he would tell me, Parimal, I guess you are very busy. If you don't have time to do this, leave it. But if you do it, you should give it a justice. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Refine the balance sheet. Refine the balance sheet analysis. Okay, I go back. I refine. Next time, that is my second submission. Looks at it, not more than a second. Is better, but not up to the mark. What do you like to do? Will you like to improve it, or will leave it as it is? What will you do? I thought I have done my best analysis. I given the analysis. He says it is better, but not up to the mark. Okay, give me back. Now I will work again on it. Like this, when I will work on it for 5 times, he will make me go back within 1 second. From 6th time onwards, he will start spending 2 minutes every time, just suggesting, looking at it, what should be corrected, what should not be. And again, I will go on refining. I am known to have worked for 15 times, 15 iterations for that analysis of balance sheet. And then my final balance sheet submission, he told me, okay, you leave it on the table. I left on the table. I left. He had to go for some meeting. He left. Suddenly, when he reached wherever he had to go, he remembered about some other paper which is supposed to be on his desk. So he calls me up. He says, go to my cabin. Look at this desk. This paper is there. Bring over the paper to me. We are at car. Is at office. Is gone to other office which is 20 kilometers away. I'm supposed to take the train, go and meet him. When I go inside, I was shocked to see that the balance sheet, after 15 iterations that I had given him, he had thrown in the waste paper basket. It took me some years to realize that he would go on giving challenging work to his people, whether it was required or not for the sake of work, but to train the person. And then, since then, I can tell you, balance sheet analysis, I can do so well that anybody in the world, I can match peer to peer in analyzing the balance sheet. 15-time iteration without being guided much, just making you to improve and improve and improve and improve. What he did? One, he inculcated a work ethic. You have to work hard. In life, hard work has no solution, has no substitute. It's all very nice to say that, work-life balance and whatever it is. You should have work-life balance, no doubt about it. But whenever you are working, you can't do superfluous work. And that's what he will make us do. Tough boss. You cry. He makes you cry. But then you develop. क्या होता है आजकल मैं देखता हूं so many young people. I compare myself with them and I see that how unlucky are today's young people. If some of you who are listening, look at it. Do you have anybody to shout at you? Do you have anybody who demands work from you? Do you have anybody who makes you cry? Do you have anybody who demands perfection from you? If so, he's the luckiest people who get it. उस टाइम तो बहुत बुरा लगता है, बट उससे जो फॉर्मेशन बनता है ना, जिंदगी भर की ताकत बनती है. And one of the best thing, if we say learning from Dr. Shrikant's life, is investing time and energy in grooming people. And that's it. I don't think that there are so many initiatives that are credited to him. He could have pulled it on his own. He had the idea, he had the concept, but somewhere he had that ability to get average people develop that faith in themselves and carry out the task. Throughout his life, he built people, and these people in turn built institutions. So should our focus be on making money? Of course, we should be making money, no doubt about it. But what is the best way of making money? One of the best way of making money is to do everything ourselves. The next best way of making money is to leave everything to others. And third best way of making money is to invest time and energy on these others, demand perfection from them, so that they will build a kind of business, organization, institution, which will be sustainable for its performance. So you have to be tough. Now, balance sheet analysis का काम तो दिया, ऐसा और भी काम दिया. Gives me on Thursday, Wednesday, tells me that when will you give? I said, I'll give you on Friday morning. He said, why Friday? Why not tomorrow? I said, tomorrow is a holiday. He says, what is there tomorrow? I said, some new year of a community. Are you from that community? No. Then what is it for you? But I said, it is a bank holiday. So what? Don't follow calendar. Don't follow clock. Follow your purpose. It means don't just take a holiday because the date is given red. But if you have illness, if you have to give exam, if you have to do something, take as many holidays as you want, but for purpose. So we have to live a life where bank holidays are not supposed to be holidays for us. Take as many holidays as you want when there is a purpose. Now, it was not so much about holiday as much about learning to be purposeful in life. What a beautiful way of saying that don't follow the crowd. Don't follow the norms. Don't follow the calendars which are established and you don't even know the reason. You drive your life, you drive your time, you drive what you will do. That is called purposeful. This is something that he had that point on grooming people. Now, what used to happen was that suppose he had to take a class, then it is finished. 1 hour class, he would prepare for 3 days. He'll go on refining and refining and refining and thinking and thinking and thinking. If you see Dr. Shrikant preparing for a class, then you understand that taking a class ideally means what? That kind of preparation, that kind of perfection. Whenever we would have a seminar, whenever we would have a bigger program, banquet hall, our program starts at 9 o'clock. He will be there at 7. How is the lighting? Is the audio working or not? Should we have this sitting arrangement? Should you have that sitting arrangement? And everything, he would make us all mad at the last minute, rearranging everything because he would have his idea of doing it with perfection. And obviously, one person who loves perfection will admire somebody else who also loves perfection. So he would tell a story about one day when Amitabh was going to give a program of reciting his father's poems at Bharati Vidya Bhavan's Charni Road Auditorium. The program was to start at 6 o'clock. From 5:30, all the trustees and VIPs came and were there near the door to receive Amitabh. The doorman was there. He kept on seeing that all these big people are just strolling on the passage and just anxiously looking outside. So he was just curious. He said that, why are you all strolling here? So first, these big people ignored him. तुम्हारा काम करो. But anyway, after 2-3 times asking, they said, अभी है ना आज अमिताभ बच्चन का प्रोग्राम है, अभी वो आने वाले हैं. Then the doorman said, मुझे पता है कि आप उसी के लिए वेट कर रहे हो, मैं आपको बताने वाला था. वो 3 बजे से आए हुए हैं अंदर, और अंदर ऑडिटोरियम में lighting and audio and all is tasting. And when these people are going inside, they can see Amitabh checking कि वो कोने में आवाज आता है कि नहीं, वो कोने में आवाज बराबर आता है कि नहीं. And that is what Dr. Srikanth would tell us, that when you do something, you are leaving your mark on that thing. So it cannot be any sloppy work. Only thing is that his way of demanding was so ruthless. He taught us simple thing. कोई भी पेपर बनाओ ना, तो उस पे डेट डालो, और अगर 2-3 पेज है ना, तो पेज नंबर डालो. Well, anyway, we will make, and sometime if we forget the page number, you give him the report. The first thing he will look at page number है कि नहीं है ना, पेपर उठा के फेंक देंगे. And the way he will look at you as if you have committed a crime. And with that gets ingrained that after all, when you are distributing a number of pages as a report, you are referring to page number 3. Then everybody will be struggling which is page number 3 for you and which is for you. Can't you give page number? When you are seeing one version of the report, another version of the report, if the date is not mentioned, how will you do it? Now, these are the simple things, but grilled in our head by that demanding perfection. So I believe that when we were trained like this, it was a great opportunity. एक बार मैं प्रोग्राम दे रहा था. Young people were there, elder people were there, fathers were there, mothers were there. मैंने पूछा, आप अपने बेटे या बेटी को झापट मार सकते थे? Now is the stunned audience. बेटे या बेटी को झापट मारना? I said झापट मारना does not mean physical, but assertion that things have to be done this way means this way and no compromise. Can you assert that? Now, if you can't, you are doing a great injustice to youngsters. Youngsters may not like that discipline, that insistence, that requirement, but eventually it becomes a great asset. Dr. Srikanth himself will got up at 4:30 in the morning and will start working at what is to be done to take the institute forward. I guess there will be rarely any other management college in India where somebody would think about the college day and night. Now, when he gets up at 4 o'clock, he does his work. He wants the whole world. So now look at it. I'm telling you, I was among the first batch of people who have worked with him. Kajal Madam was among the last. She was living in Mulund. The office is in Juhu. Dr. Srikanth will give her a book and tell her, make a summary of chapter 1, 2, and 3. Meet me tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock at my Juhu office. Now, evening he is giving you. You are supposed to read that 3 chapters. You are supposed to make the summary. And from Mulund, come here morning 6 o'clock to give him the summary. He would call this as work ethic. When you do work, that has to be supreme. There are no other consideration at all. What money you get, what money you don't get, whether it's day, whether it is night, whether it is Mumbai Bandh, whether it is not. Work ethic means work is worship, work is supreme, and it has to be done. So Tejal madam would come there morning 6 o'clock, will show the summary. He'll say, very good, very nice. Now, take this another book and make summary. Now, she was not a commerce graduate. He will ask her to analyze balance sheet. She was just a very young girl. He would ask her to summarize spiritual books. But she kept on doing, and in a way, her formation kept on taking place. So this whole word called work ethic, supremacy of the work, and perfection in the work. We were in a small college, in a small corner, with there no resource at all, unknown to people outside our campus. And from there, he would talk about doing world-class performance. Where you are is immaterial. Whether you aim for the world-class performance or not, that is what it matters. And then what happened? What did he do? He has created so many professors out of different vocations. Among his team of first professor, there were 2 or 3. One of the gentlemen who had done himself an MBA from IIM, but actually was doing a business of some contracting. So he had come to discuss with Dr. Shrikant about work contract. Dr. Shrikant asked him, that's nice, very good, everything fine. Why don't you teach? And then eventually that person didn't only become a professor, he became director of one of the most reputed institute, and then very recently retired as a professor. He created the professor out of him. There was another professor. Dr. Shrikant in his consulting had a company in which some issue of sales were there. So he was talking to this gentleman about the problem of the sales. Looking at his enthusiasm and all, he says, why don't you teach? And then eventually that person turned out to be one of the finest professors. What did he do all his life? Just groom people. By what? By challenging them. Never spoon feeding. By challenging and demanding high work ethic. I started with telling you that I went to him and met him in his 2-bedroom rented apartment. What was the reason? Was to convey that you have to walk the talk. If you have that work ethic, you can demand it from others. But if you don't have work ethics and expect others to have work ethics, things don't work. This is where a great thing had done. Then what he would do? He would give platform to people. So once we had a serious problem of getting contractor for our canteen. Now we have a residential college, students are staying here. We have to make sure that they get some proper food. They make a committee, they make a mess, they get a contractor. Second day onwards, the contractor starts giving lousy things. Perennial problem. That time, one young boy who had just completed his BCom comes and says that I want to be into restaurant business. Can you give me this contract? Now look at it. Dr. Shrikant's whole thing of looking at the people, judging at the people and giving them the platform. He said, okay, you take our canteen work. We will give you space, we'll give you utensils, we'll give the electricity, we'll give you table and chair. If you can meet the taste and requirement of the student, you get the contract. So now that boy keeps, in a way, is very happy, he has got the work, but in a way is a very sad. To execute the contract, he will need to buy grocery and vegetable and other things. And he doesn't have money. When Dr. Shrikant finds out that this is the problem, he says, don't worry, we'll take 1 month advance from the student. Now, this boy who had no money, but of course had a great fire in the belly, spark in the eye, wanted to become a restaurateur. Dr. Shrikant gave him a platform so much that not only that he worked as a canteen, today it is more than 25 years his contract continues. We used to have not a single contractor more than 25 months. Today he is continuing with 25 years and he has 6 other restaurants. The whole person who had nothing was brought up to a level. For what? Just is my role to platform for the people. So in a way, when you are working, what you are working for? If you want to learn, one of the things that Dr. Shrikant's life teaches is working for to build people. And then once the people are built, then of course things keep on going on very well. He will have work ethic, extremely hard worker himself, he will study a lot. Any consulting work, any problem, he will go back to the books. He had his own big cupboards of books, a small cupboard for clothes. In fact, when he died, there were very few pair of clothes in his wardrobe. Of course, his book rack was full. So he's a kind of coherent personality where you cannot speak one thing and do one thing. Simplicity in life, high work standard, living by that standard, demanding it from others, and then building the people. We were all professors at SP Jain Institute. He will gather all of us. Most of us were never professors. In fact, SP Jain was such a small name, no good professor will want to join us. So he created professors out of non-professors. And then he would tell us, if you go to apply to Harvard, none of you will get job. But the way what you are doing, I can tell you, you are doing better than what they do it there. Now look at it. When somebody tells you this, what happens to boosting of your morale? You get committed to do it even better. Take average people and make them do above average work is the strength of a traditional, any family business people. Dr. Shrikant symbolized it to the utmost. He was a Banya. He will proudly say that I'm a Banya, and he will make everyone respect money. If we want to spend something for the college, he will say, अगर आपके खुद के लिए पैसे खर्चे करेंगे तो इतना करेंगे क्या? Then do it that way. Till 2004, we had to go to Delhi to conduct interview. We were allowed to go only in Rajdhani Express, no airlines. If we were to go and stay, we were to share 2 professors a room. Well, money is of the trust, and we have to hold it on trust. Now look at the kind of value that he goes on doing it. Then what he will do? He'll gather all the professors together, and not only professors, it's all different kind of people that he work with. Somewhere or other, he'll keep on interacting. My guess is that at any time, he was working on 100 projects, at any time. And somehow, he will touch each of the project at least once or twice in a week. So he gives me a project. Okay, look at the computer system for admission. As I told you, no other guideline, nothing. But by the time I am trained now to go and do it on my own, okay, 3 days I have not done anything. Fourth day, morning 7 o'clock, that call at my house. Everybody in my house know morning 7 o'clock, phone rings, means Dr. Shrikant. And he'll ask me what happened about that computer system. And this he will do on all his 100 projects. He will keep all of us remember and realize that when you have taken a task, it is to be worshipped. It is to be done sincerely. It is to be done honestly. He never asked us what work you are doing, but he made us feel that if I am taking salary, am I doing work much more than the salary or not? Immaterial of what resource I get, am I having that ethics, that moral? He never asked us directly, but he made us sensitive to it. He keeps a very high standard, and then he will pull you to his standard. So then after that, what happens? When anybody joins him, including me, we were kickstart. We were to be told, you do this, so I will do. And when my work is over, I'm relaxing. Then again, somebody will have to tell me, you do this. Then I'll do. Work is over, I'm relaxing. This is called kickstart. Somebody has to kick, then you will do. He transformed the people from kickstart to self-start. So now, he made me think, what can I do for the institute? 1997, we started this program called FMB. One of my colleagues, Professor Rao, was handling it. He created it actually. He built it. 1998, the second batch, I also come into the program. Since then, I have to think, what can I do for the program? And he'll give me all the long rope. So I suggested we have two divisions. You go ahead. I said we will have two intake. Go ahead. When I started, we had 30 students. 2014, when we left, there were 300 students. Everywhere in the country, help encourage me to go and give talk. And of course, he'll go on making me perfect the talk. When I started teaching, first time, I had to spend 6 months with him revising what am I going to talk every minute? What am I going to write on the board? What point am I going to discuss? Why am I going to discuss this? What should I do and what should I not do? 6 months preparation before taking a course which had 30 sessions. But that kind of preparation. Now what happens with all this? He prepared the people in such a way that now we drive it. So when I'm handling FMB, I will think about how to make FMB more relevant. I will think about how to start OMP program, then WMP program, then having all the kind of thing that is to go through. I will think about how to go abroad. Now, I went to another country. Before I was going, the college from that company said, let's start an MOU. Let's sign an MOU. So I went to another officer of our college, senior position, asking him to sign the MOU. Now this gentleman is asking me, what is the program we are going to do? How many students will be there? What are going to be the fees? You know nothing. How can we sign MOU? I take the paper back from him. I go to Dr. Shrikant and he just signs in a minute. Now, the point was, unless I go, how will I find out? But a person typical used to a certain rigidities, they will not go unless they find out, and unless they find out, they won't sign, and they can't move. Dr. Shrikant will make us move like this. Now go. Now go means now go, not tomorrow. That kind of speed. So in a hurry, world class, we are a number 3 rated institute out of 3 in Mumbai. Only those who are rejected from every other college will come to our college. We have no money to buy a telephone instrument. We have no money to pay handsome salaries. And in this time, to tell us that we are going to build a world-class institute requires a certain kind of faith in himself and the faith he gave us. What he will do is that he will every week, we will have a faculty meeting. And the junior most person to senior most people, all are equal and will do chit chat. To many people who don't understand, this was a waste of time. For him, it was an inculcation of a culture, transmission of values, making everybody learn about a way of working. So I can tell you, everybody who has worked with him, perhaps I am the only one who has worked for the longest period of time. Different people must have come in between and gone. But everybody would remember meeting him, learning different things from him, and having that feel of certain that you are in front of a person of certain high stature. We have a meeting at 9 o'clock. You are there at 9:01. He'll get pretty and furious. What is this? I have another meeting. Now you are so late. You are so very busy. Then forget about it. We don't want to meet and whatever it is. For a 9 o'clock meeting, always, he is there 5 to 9. He'll be there for a 9 o'clock class. He'll be there at 5 or 9. He'll be just sitting on the table and keep looking at the watch. Dot at 9, he'll start talking and nobody is allowed thereafter. He valued his time so much. He made all others to value the time. People in Bombay have traffic problem. I worked him for some 30 years, I can tell you. Anybody who has to meet him somehow managed to reach on time. And wherever he had to go, he always made sure that he reaches on time. Now, what do you call it? These are all small things. They are not so big. It is the small things which make big things. I remember here a statement Kumar Mangalam Birla talks about Aditya Birla in one of the films they made on Aditya Birla. He would say that Aditya Birla used to say, "Choti choti baaton se पूर्णता आती है और पूर्णता कोई छोटी बात नहीं है." Small things lead to perfection, and perfection is not a small thing. Here is something that all business people, all parents, I would say all leaders, all people who live in society have a lesson to learn. Learn to be a captain, not a boss. What is the meaning of captain? Captain himself may not be a great bowler, he may not be a great batsman, but he can assess the strength of his team. Of course, he knows the weakness of his team, but he will build on the strength of the team. He will give confidence to the team. He'll make this whole determination and drive to win the match. And if we lose, taking sportingly, prepare for the next. That is the role of captain. And boss is someone who wants to demand things, hire in fire, shout at people, and himself can do anything and demand things from others. This is something that was his strength. When I thought about talking these sessions about learning from Dr. Shrikant, I thought about 3 different things that is to be taught. One is about is great contribution in life of hundreds of people in terms of building persons to build institutions. Then, of course, there's a very different dimension in his life is about management. How did he manage? We talk about management. He landed into an institution which was into losses, which had no reputation, no resources, and transforming that into a world-class institution. SP Jain, by 95, less than 10 years of his joining, became in top 10 in the country. He had a dream and he had a vision to make it #1 in the country. Of course, IIMs are well established, well resourced, well equipped, and still, can SP Jain ever overtake IIM? As far as Dr. Srikanth is concerned, he would say, why not? We need a strategy. And he had the strategy in place. If his will would have gone through, perhaps by now, SP Jain would have been #1 in the country. Now, the point is, yes or no, now is a history. But the point was, an institution which is on the deathbed, transforming it into top 10 in India, could have gone into #1 in India, is what some management would have gone through. I have been a witness in the process all along. So I can share with you in some other time about the management lessons that we can learn from his life. And then there are third thing is that one thing is to follow big leaders, and another thing is to chart your own path. So he would tell us that anything that IIM is doing, if we do, we'll always remain second class. So we have to do something which IIM is not doing. And one of the biggest thing out of that is a special program for family managed business sons and daughters. Never done anywhere in the world. And even today, it is not done anywhere in the world other than GFMB. Of course, there are many places they've copied, many places who are conducting, but they don't have the spirit which Dr. Srikanth had. Dr. Srikanth would have thought that family businesses are what going to build the country. And he would have thought that there is a great learning from the West, but there is a great learning from India's family business also. So how can we create a blend? And I can tell you last 23 years, I am with this moment. I have traveled to many universities all over the world. We keep studying whatever is happening. The vision and insight with which he designed this program for family managed business is unique. And even now, other colleges are not getting the spirit of it. So that is his whole idea. Don't follow the crowd. Do something that makes the difference. And I just gave you an example of one, but like that, he has done many. So maybe at some other occasion, we can talk about great initiative, innovations, contributions created by him, and the logic of each one, and what kind of phenomenal impact that each one has created. So finally, it was my pleasure and honor to work with him. And today, I thank Professor Anil Menon. When he asked me to do this, I was not very sure what I will do and how I will do. But then last 2 days, having learned from him, I also had a sleepless night. I also had to recollect everything. And of course, it was a great thing to get into that nostalgic feeling of the great, tough and rough days that I had with him. And today I'm thankful that I'm on a journey where self-start is the point. Nobody has to ask me what am I going to do for Global FMB, but day and night, our dream, and not only me, all my colleagues and others, that what and how we can make the most impactful program. Thank you very much, Anil sir.
Just a couple of questions, if you permit me. Dr. Vinod Nair has just put as a feedback, lifetime learning, right? So just a couple of questions. There's one in the Q&A format. What to do when the employee is not ready to grow? How to get work done from a non-cooperative employee?
You think when it pushed me to make steel, was I ready to go? But the whole point is that he is demanding. And then there are people who could not and they moved out. He showed me the growth. I am 21 to be told that you will be in charge of this steel project. Unthinkable. He's not, after working with him, I can tell you, there is not a single person not ready to grow. Every person in his life is ready, but different people understand different language. One language everybody understands, and that is your body language. Are you honest? Are you sincerely taking interest in him, or you just want to use him for your purpose? And somehow, you may like it or not, body language is so transparent that other person realizes. I've seen so many people coming and working with Dr. Srikanth. The toughest nut to crack melted just because of his that moral authority. There is no one-line solution. This requires a lot of thinking, reflection. And when you think very deep, it is called meditation. About what is my mission? Do I make this money just money? Do I make a sustainable money generating organization? Or do I make people who in turn will create many such institutions?
So one more question. It's not come, but I used to always wonder because some of these kids have asked me this question. So Dr. Srikanth used to work for an honorary salary of ₹1 per year, and he
Yes.
served Bharatiya Vidyavan for a pretty long time. So what was the logic of that? So some kids used to ask me this question. What is your interpretation of this entire motive?
See, he was chief executive earlier. He had lived with all the luxuries of life. And then he wanted to contribute to the society. So when he talked about consulting, the whole idea, it was like a mission that modern management techniques, multinationals have exploited so well and they've grown. How do I bring this management to Indian companies so Indian companies will grow? There is some part of his, which many people may not know, is that his father was a part of Gandhian movement of freedom. Gandhiji had given a call that I want young people to dedicate life for the country. Dr. Srikanth's father had replied that I had enough to take care of my life. I want to work for the country. And then Gandhiji gave him an area called Panchmahal district in northeast Gujarat, which is a tribal area, and gave him the task of working for welfare of the tribals. Since then, they settled in that place. There is a town called Dahod in that district, and they had the base there. Dr. Srikanth's childhood was in that region. So Gandhian influence are 2 or 3 parts. One is simplicity. Second thing is selflessness. It's not that every time you ask, what do I get? Of course, you should get something, but that cannot be a central thing in life. And third thing is, can I have a very large vision? A vision to work for the country, bring up the people. Now, these 3 things, I think Gandhian movement inculcated in all those who went through. Dr. Srikanth also had a very strong influence of that. So it was his mission. And I'll tell you, this whole FMB program, the logic was very clear. When we became top 10, all our students will go to multinationals. And then what are we? We are just producing or converting the brightest mind of India to be eligible to work for multinationals. Brightest mind of India should have worked for Indian companies, but all the top MBA colleges were converting them presentable to multinationals in India. So from there came the idea that if we do this management with sons and daughters of family business, then they will go back and change their business. And maybe, what is the impact of just this family business program on the businesses all across the country? If it is quantified, it will be phenomenal. One man with that thinking, that is the kind of power of that influence. So he had that influence. That was one. And then second thing is, obviously at that time, institute had no money. So if somebody had to come who will charge, institute had no money. So obviously he came as honorary just to see. Then when the institute started having even more problem, whatever consulting he had, he transformed it into the institute. And then what happens when you have some dream, when you have some mission, when you want to transform the institute, then that is the only thing. He not only gave money, he gave consulting, he gave all the things. And you can imagine 27 years is the best part of his life has gone to the institute. So it's a mission, it's a dream.
Sir, one question here. What would you recommend for people who procrastinate because they fear the size of the task?
I don't think anybody fears size of the task. Procrastination means what? Is an internal resistance to start. So take your example, you want to reduce the weight. Now somewhere deep inside you have a conviction that you are not going to do it. But intellectually you have just attended a seminar that you have to be physically fit. So now you want to do it. But understand, our lives are lived by our heart, not by our head. Our head can learn anything. Our head can go on preaching. Nothing happens. It is the enthusiasm. It is the excitement. Now, procrastination is done by people who actually do not have enthusiasm. Intellectually, they have attended some seminar, and in the seminar, they were told that you must grow. So they are talking that they want to grow. They don't have fire in themselves. They don't see themselves as Bill Gates. They don't see themselves as climbing Mount Everest. That faith in ourselves is what is the driving point. And you can never get faith in yourself by pulling your hair. You can't raise yourself by pulling your hair. You need to be in company with people. You need to be doing things with that kind of vision. So it's a process. First and foremost is the process. There is no capsule available in the world. You take capsule and tomorrow onwards your whole procrastination will go. Nothing, it will happen. You can go and attend some 2-3 motivational seminar. It's like a tire which is filled with air. You will float with number of resolutions, and within 2-3 days, some pin and the whole thing will settle down. The entire industry of motivational speaker today is going on only because of people who think that they should do something, but they don't feel that they are capable of doing something. Dr. Shrikant kind of person is a person who will make you feel you can make. He used to love young people. He will have tremendous faith in young people. So much so that many times professors would feel offended that he may question the professor, but will never question the student. And when you feel yourself as young, then you have that dream. First and foremost becomes this whole issue, how much you value yourself. Are you one more ordinary person, or you are here to make a difference? If you value yourself, many things will start changing yourself. Somewhere in our society, particularly, I'll tell you, I'm 60 now, so I would have seen people of a generation ago. Somewhere people a generation ago had tremendous faith. Look at the family business people. 1970, what was the thing? Nothing. All struggle. But they had that faith. Kuch na kuch ho jayega. They left their villages. They went to different cities, not knowing anybody, not knowing what trade. कुछ ना कुछ काम करना चालू कर देंगे, फुटपाथ पे रहेंगे, कुछ भी करेंगे, कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा. Somewhere that कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा, देख लेंगे, required certain courage that generation had. Somewhere last 15, 20 years, our education from the West, whereby needlessly, we just have made them as a role model. I would rarely think about any young person in India talking about Jamshedji Tata, about the kind of challenges he took. But we will take pride in talking about Steve Jobs. Rarely anybody knows about the kind of charity Aditya Birla did, and at the same time, in the age of less than 60, setting up more than 70 companies and become the first multinational from India. But we will proudly talk about Zuckerberg. This is something that pride in ourselves. Dr. Shrikant would always tell us that we have to learn a lot from the West, but understand, West does not have what East has. We have that kind of powerful emotional thing. We have a powerful bonding. We have a powerful purpose in life. You may call it a word spiritual, you may call it whatever you like, but we have a power to dream. When we have surrendered our power to dream to the masters from the West, we started following Starbucks tasty just because it is American. We started disliking Italy and preferring McDonald's just because it is an American. Is not a great thing that we have done. When you are proud about what you are, then you are very clear. You are not superior than anybody in the world, but you are not inferior as well. Swami Vivekananda, 1895, talk was describing. Ask an average American, can you do it? He doesn't even know, but still he'll say, of course I can do it. Ask an average Indian, can you do it? He knows how to do it. Still, he will hesitate and he says, I will try, I may not. Bubbling with confidence. So Vivekananda will use the language, muscles of iron and nerves of steel. This is what is called character. We are no ordinary people. We are born to make a difference. And when you take that purpose to your life, so many other things get aligned. Dr. Shrikant, when he gets into SP Jain, there is no money. By the time 2014 he leaves, the institute is in top 10 with a huge bank balance. Our entire Bharati Vidya Bhavan came up because of that whole thing. And it's not that he did things, but so many things starts falling in places. As we discussed some other time, we will talk about the contributions and innovations. It's not that he did it, but he became instrumental in making it possible. So once you have that strong purpose means what? Faith in yourself. You are capable. And let's understand, performance at school or college is mistaken as intelligence. It is not. School and college is only a place for collection of data. Some person has good memory, some person has less memory. School and college is also a place where interpretation of data, some people are good at it, some people are less good at it. But this has nothing to do with what you do in life. Life, what you do, has to do with only one thing. What do you think about yourself? If you think you are useless, then okay. You will waste your life in partying. You will waste your life in gossiping. If you think that you are going to play a role, then you will go to party, but with the idea of network and building on the network to double your business every year, to think of 10 times, to think of becoming world class, to think of acquiring companies worldwide, and fear nothing. This is what is the advantage. And this is what something I believe a great learning from Dr. Shrikant's life, what things he has done.
Amazing, sir. So we will end with this. I don't think I need to summarize. Thank you very, very much, sir. Right.
Thank you.
That's challenging times. So this is actually a dream come true. Right. Hiten Muchala sir is also there. Okay, fantastic. It's a dream come true, sir, that you speaking about Dr. Shrikant.
Thank you.
One last thing about Dr. Parimal, sir. See, when you have to understand the wavelength of a great person, I can tell you not everybody could gel with Dr. Shrikant and work along with him. But then to rise up to his standards also needs somebody of immense talent. That is our Dr. Parimal Marchant. Thank you very much, sir. God bless. Right. Thank you all of
Thank
you.
you and bye-bye.